would like to do is thank the organizers of WCCS for actually inviting me to come here and speak to you, because you're the students and you're our future, and I think it's really exciting that I get to be here and be able to inspire a couple of you to get along in your career and maybe do a little bit more than just being a clinician and be in practice, because that's what I was asked to talk about as well. So here we go. I'm going to start in a minute with telling you a little bit about who I am and how my career went on from graduating from college, actually. Because I've been doing a couple of different things, and I'm hoping that telling you about the things that I've been doing is going to inspire all of you to do similar things. When I was in college, we often had some of our tutors and the ones that had been in clinic for a long time and were very experienced, they would give us those clinical pearls. I don't know, do they still do that? Do you guys have the same thing? And it was basically that they were telling you about things that they learn in practice and that you don't get to learn from the books, but are really helpful if you go out and practice later on. So I thought I'd share with you my leadership pearls, which are basically the things that I've learned from being in different leadership positions. And I think those are things that might help you guys if you want to go on and be in leadership positions within our profession. And finally, I would like to talk to you about what we as a profession need from you, the students, and our future colleagues and our future leaders of the profession. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to need you guys to do later on, so be prepared. Who am I and how did I get here? I'm from the Netherlands. I'm, like Gita, working in the Netherlands, but I'm not from Amsterdam. And from the Netherlands, most people only know Amsterdam, which is somewhere in the middle. Do I have a laser on this? No, top button. Ah, there we go. That's where Amsterdam is. That's where I am. So I'm about 3 hours away from Amsterdam in the tiny little bit that's dangling down from the Netherlands, and it's in between Belgium and Germany, which makes it a bit of a multicultural area as well, because we have people speaking German and French and Dutch and English, and you have to do everything in the same time in your clinic, which is exciting, really. So it's a good place to be. When I was 17 years old, I decided I wanted to become a chiropractor. But I couldn't study chiropractic in the Netherlands, so I had to move to the UK. And I went to AECC, over there, which was a really, really good time. I really enjoyed being in the UK and being at AECC. And this is really where it all started for me, because I ended up finding out that I really enjoyed doing things for the student union. And after a couple of years, they thought I was quite trustworthy and a very serious student, so they let me handle the money. So I became the treasurer of the student union. And then, about halfway through the year, our president, unfortunately, had some health issues, and she had to step down, and she couldn't do her duties as a president anymore. And from one day to the next, I was suddenly the treasurer and the president of the student union. And I didn't really sign up for it. So I had to be this person, which I didn't really think I could be, but because I had to be, I was. So that was an interesting time, and I find out that being a leader or being a president in any association or in any role, it's not something you're born to do, but it's something that you can actually learn. And like my colleagues were saying earlier, you just have to be there and you just have to do it, and you get to learn, and as much as you learn, you get to move on to different positions. So we also had a Dutch student association, and I was their president as well. I was involved a little bit with WCCS, but I didn't actually ever go to one of the congresses, so you guys are already ahead of me in that area, which is great. And I was, like Gita said earlier, she went to the Danish school, but I was a representative, a student representative on several different committees in the school, which gives you a lot of context in the area already, which is really good for your future careers. So after all of that, I graduated 2007, which is a little while ago. Went back to the Netherlands, and I started working in a big clinic with lots of other chiropractors around me. And one of my colleagues was a board member of the NCA, the Dutch Chiropractors Association. And he said, well, you know, we really need some more people on the board. And I thought, well, I'm just out of college and I've only been working for a year and I don't have experience. But he said, well, we need people. Just come on and join us and it'll be good. So I did, and I got to run the public relations committee, which was really quite an interesting job, because I think in all areas, public relations is one of the things that we as chiropractors need to put a little bit more emphasis on. Then in 2010, I decided I wanted to move back to this area where I grew up, but there were no chiropractors there, so I had to start my own clinic. So at that time, I was a board member of the NCA, and I had to start my own clinic, and I was still working in the other clinic, so I had to do lots of different things at the same time. But it's fun, so it's good, right? So I started my own clinic. It's been going for 6 years now, and it's been going really strong. It's the best thing I've ever done, and it's the best thing to do is to just be in clinic and work with patients, but there are other things to do in your career as well. So 2012, we had a little crisis at the NCA board because our president had a car accident, unfortunately, so he was ill and he had to step down. Well, that sounded familiar to me. And we didn't have a president, and the colleagues in my board, they said, well, we think you should do it. And I thought, really? Why me? I've only been in this profession for a couple of years. I'm young, I'm unexperienced, I'm female. We never had a female president before. But since nobody else wanted to do it, I thought, let's just get up and do it and see where we go. So I became the NCA president, did it for 3 years. And as the NCA president, I also became a general board member of the European Chiropractors Union. So I was the Dutch representative on the European Chiropractors Union. We have 23 representatives on the ECU and an executive board. And in 2015, the General Council nominated me to become the vice president of the ECU. 2016, I was elected a board member of the World Federation of Chiropractic. So currently, I'm a clinician, first and for all. It's the best thing to do. I'm the ECU vice president. I'm a WFC board member. And I'm still an NCA advisory board member, although I'm no longer the president of the NCA. And all of that happened in a pretty short period of time. So I think quite a few of you are probably trying to figure out how old I am now. I have a little surprise for you. I'm here to celebrate my birthday with you. So it's one of those things. If you're in these positions, it doesn't really matter which day of the year. You have to be present always. So it's my birthday today, and I'm actually 32 today. So I'm not that very old yet. But I've been going for over 10 years in different leadership positions. So I do have a little bit of experience to talk to you about today. One of the first things that I learned as a leader, I think it's really, really important to just listen to each other. And I know that's why you guys are all here, because you're discussing things and you're listening to each other. But what I found that in our profession, quite often people jump to conclusions. You're speaking to someone and you know their background and you think, oh, he's probably going to say this and this. Don't do that. Just listen to what they have to say, because quite often they might surprise you and they come up with things and you're like, oh, actually, I can really agree with this person on this issue. Maybe not on something else, but you can still agree on several issues. So listening to each other is one of the most important things to do. Then, we also need to learn to think about what people have been telling us. Quite often, people just blurt out whatever comes up in their mind. As a leader, that's not a smart thing to do, because you will be held accountable for anything that you do or say. So think before you say stuff, and especially now in these days when we have Facebook and all the social media, if you put things on there, it's going to come back to you. So before you put things on social media or before you say things in meetings and everything, just listen to everyone else first, think about what you're going to say, and then say it. And talk. Just talk to each other. Just if something happens anywhere around the globe, and that's really great why you guys have this great network of students and you already have your contacts around the globe. For example, something is happening in Spain, and I hear all those rumors because we are a profession that has quite a lot of rumors going on, and people are saying, oh, Spain, this and this is going on, and it's really bad, and you know, the association is not doing anything to help. I'm not going to join into those rumors. I'm going to pick up the phone and call my good friend Carlos, who will be talking to you later. He's the president of the Spanish Association. I'm just going to ask him, what's going on? just talk to each other. Just ask people what's going on, and don't assume that things are going on because someone else has been telling you. So that's a very important thing to do. So listen first, then think, talk to each other, and have an opinion. And I know that that actually sounds quite easy, and I always thought that was easy to do. But as a leader, sometimes it's quite hard to have an opinion. When I became ECU vice president, the ECU has an executive council of only 4 people. So there's the president, Oysen Oger, there's a treasurer, Vasilis Golfanopoulos, there's myself, and there's the secretary general, Ian Beasley. And when I joined this council as a vice president, I said, well, can somebody tell me what it is that I really need to do? Do I have any special jobs, or what's my task as a vice president? And Oysen Oger, the president, he said to me, well, the only thing I really need you to do is to have an opinion. And I thought, well, okay, I can do that. I always have an opinion anyway, so that's quite easy. But then when you start to discuss really difficult issues, and you're looking at them from different backgrounds, sometimes it's really hard to have one opinion and stand by it. And as a leader, you're always expected to have an opinion. And people are going to call you up on this opinion. But it's not easy to have the same opinion and stick with it. And we shouldn't forget that at times, it is allowed to change your opinion. If you talk to people and people come up with really good arguments, then why shouldn't you be able to change your opinion? So don't stick with something that you know is the truth. Because if people come up with really good things, then and you're going to think about it and you think, well, maybe he's got a point, change your opinion, it's fine. But you always have to have an opinion, because if we don't have opinions, we're not going to move forward. So I also learned that this can be quite a hard profession. And as a leader of an association or a school or whatever, you're going to be attacked at times. And initially, you want to fight back. You want to say, well, this is not what I've done, and you got it all wrong, and people are saying bad stuff about you. Sometimes you just have to be quiet. Just not say anything, just sit still, let it move over. Because if you're going to be in an argument with lots of people at the same time, you're going to lose sight of the same aim that we all have. We all want to move chiropractic forward. So sometimes you just have to let it slide a little bit and then pick up again and move on with it. So sit still when you're being shaved at times. And moving on from that, being flexible is quite important. Because when you're being attacked, sometimes you have to be a little bit flexible and to bend a little bit and to move in between the lines a little bit. Because if you're not flexible, you're going to break at some point. It's hard being a leader. And if you're not flexible, then you're not going to make it. So sometimes just, be a little bit flexible and go along with the flow, and it will help you to get further. And the final thing that I would like to say about leadership, and many of my previous speakers have already said the same thing, we need to unite as a profession. We need to, all of us together, work on the future of our profession. We shouldn't be creating more diversity, because we already have some diversity in our profession and it's not helping us. We shouldn't be doing the inward fighting. I think I heard one of the alumni talking about that earlier as well. We should all unite, and we should all talk to each other and listen to each other, and if we unite all of us together, then we can really move something forward. So what do we as a profession then need from you guys, from the students? Well, we need young leaders. We need people in leadership positions. So first and for all, never stop learning. I think both Ryan and Geeta said the same thing, so we're all on the same page here. But also find out where your heart lies. Because some people will really like to take on leadership positions, but others might be really good at doing research, and they might have a leading position in research. Or we need people that have leading positions in education and look at how we should educate our future colleagues and chiropractors. Or people are really good at developing special clinical skills, and they want to go out and do CPD seminars and all that kind of stuff. So find where your heart lies and go with that. Go with the thing that you can do best. May it be leadership or research or education or clinical skills, it doesn't matter, but pick an area, or 2 or 3 or 4 if you want to, and go with that and do something that you really like to do. Step up. Well, all of you guys are already here, which is a good thing. And again, both Gita and Ryan said the same thing. It's the first thing to actually show up and be there. But we also need you to step up, because our profession needs the help of you guys, of the young students and the future leaders. And we need to work in teams, and we need to work towards unity. And in order to do that, we need to support organizations. So we need to support the national associations, the regional associations, the global associations like WCCS or WFC. We need to support our schools. We need to support the accreditation systems that accredit the schools. We need to support our research organizations, because all of those organizations make our profession stronger. The better we are organized, the stronger we are, and the better we will be recognized from the outside world. And most of all, in order to do all this, we, as a profession, and within all those organizations, we need to do all these things at the same time, preferably. So we need to listen, we need to think, we need to talk, we need to be in congresses like this, but also all the other congresses around the world. And we need to unite. I can't say it often enough. We need to unite, and we need to move forward as a united profession. And my final point to you, it's a quote from Fat Mancini, or a colleague from the US. Whatever you do, make sure it makes you happy. And that's really important. If it makes you happy, then it's probably the right thing to do for you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. So just before we get to the next speaker, I'll give everyone a chance to get up and stretch a little bit, move around a little bit if you like. Don't leave the room or anything, just a little stretch for 10 seconds.